Hello and welcome to this tutorial for the board game Dune Imperium. Whether you are familiar with the story or not, you can always play the game and have fun with it. Here's how it goes. You are going to play until one person reaches this section of the scoring track. Then you finish the round and the game is over. You already have the points you've earned during the game. And at the end, you have the opportunity to play any cards that you have collected that will give you bonus points now. Whoever has the highest score after that is the winner. So again, you keep playing until someone reaches this area on the scoring track and then the game ends. One or more players might get some final extra bonus points. If you have the most, you are the winner. Like I said, you play the game in rounds. So first, what is a round? Each round is 5 steps. Step 1. Flip over the top card from this deck on the board, here, and every player takes 5 cards from their own deck. Step 2. Keep taking turns until every player has passed. Step 3. There's a battle, and some players get the rewards that are written on this card you flipped over earlier. Step 4. You place a few of these orange tokens on the game board. Step 5. You prepare everything for the next round. That is a round. Flip the card, take turns, resolve this card by looking who has the strongest army at that moment, place some resources and get ready for the next round. Let's go through that in a bit more detail. Step 1 is easy. Flip over the top card from this deck and every player takes the top 5 cards from their own deck into their hand. It's good to see this card because then you know what the rewards are for later and know how much it's worth for you to try to win those rewards. Step 2. Players take turns. I'll explain what you can do when it's your turn in a moment, but it's important to know that you don't end the round after every player has had a turn. You keep going around and around the table, taking turns over and over again. When you can't do anything anymore, you pass and you are out of the round. As soon as every player has passed, then this part of the round is over. Step 3. You resolve this card. It's quite simple. For every cube you have in the middle here, you get 2 battle points. It's written on the board here. And during your turn, you placed some cards on the table that showed 1 or more sword icons. Each sword icon gives you 1 extra battle point. So you can see by everyone's own player token on this track who is the strongest. And that's already it. Whoever is the strongest can take the first prize, the one at the top. If you're with at least 3 players, the second strongest player gets second prize. In case you're with 4 players, then someone also gets this third prize. You end this part of the round by removing all the cubes that are in the middle of the board. They go back into your supply. If you have any cubes in these circles, then they stay where they are, and the tokens on the track go back to 0. One important detail. Before you look here to see who the winner of the battle is, you go around the table and ask if anyone wants to play any of their secret little bonus cards. You can get them during your turn. Some will give you something when it's your turn, some will give you bonus points at the end of the game, but some are for battle. The card will tell you. And if you want, you can play them now. But you keep going around and around until every player has said they don't want to play a card. That means it's possible to pass, but when another player does use a card, you can still choose to play one of your cards when it's your turn again. Only when everyone has passed on playing any of these bonus cards, then you look at who the winner is of this battle. Step 4. In a way, this is also preparing for the next round, but it's best to do this before tidying up the rest. You place one of these smaller orange tokens on each of these sandworms, but if a player places their player figure on one of these spaces that show a worm, you don't put a token there. That's why you do this before cleaning up the board. You might not remember where there was a player figure or not. So place an orange token on each sandworm by a space where no player went to during this turn. If there's already a token there, just put it on top. Step 5. Now you get to properly clean up. Every player takes back their own player figures from the board. If anyone took this black player figure during their turn, it should be placed back on the game board here. And you give this first player token to the person to your left. In case anyone reached this part of the scoring track, the game is done. If not, you keep playing. So, how do you play the game? What do you do when it's your turn? When it's your turn, you can do one action. And you only have 3 options to choose from. When it's your turn, you can pass. Then you are out of the round, and you only pass when you really can't do anything anymore. When it's your turn, you can also choose to place one of your own player figures on the board and take the reward from the space where you placed it. But there are rules for that. Here's how that works. If you want to place one of your figures on the board, you first have to pay the price. The price for each space is written on the left side of the space. It will always be an icon, and maybe sometimes you also have to pay resources. So how do you pay an icon? If you look at the cards in your hand, you can see almost every card will have a little icon on the left side. That's what they are for. If you want to go to a space on the game board, you have to discard a card that has the icon on the space that the space is asking for. It just goes on your own, next to your own discard pile for now. Whatever is written at the bottom of the card is not important, but if there happens to be anything written in the middle of the card, you can also do that. It's up to you, and the card will speak for itself. Anyway, that's how you pay an icon. Look at which icon the space you want to go to is asking for, and then discard one of your cards that has the same icon. In case the space also shows some resources, that means you also have to pay those before you can go there. There are only 3 resources: water, these grey tokens are Solari, but I call them money, and these orange tokens. These are spice, and it's the most important resource of the universe, at least in the Dune stories. After you have paid everything you needed to, you can place your player figure on that space on the game board and take the reward that is written on the right side of that space. And now that you have placed your figure on this space, that means no other player can go here for the rest of the round. There can be only one figure on each space. In case you place your figure on one of these spaces on the left side of the board, besides getting the reward that it shows next to the space, you also get to move your own little cube up one space on the track. If you happen to get to this space where it shows this 1 point icon, you can take 1 point. But if you drop below it, you have to give that point back. If you get up to this space, there's another reward here, but you also get to take this token, and that gives you another point. But if another player's cube passes you, you have to give them this token and you lose your point again. But that's it. Pay the price that it shows on the left side, place one of your player figures there, and take the reward that it shows on the right side of that space. Two things about spaces. If a space gives you cubes, you are allowed to play those cubes immediately in the middle. Or you can place them in one of the circles, then they aren't for battle. You can also place some in the middle and some in the circle, it's up to you. If the space you've used shows this crossed swords icon, that means you can add up to 2 cubes that are in a circle to the middle so that they're part of the upcoming battle. And if a space ever has a little token under it from another player or yourself, that means whenever anyone uses this space, the owner of this token can take the little bonus. Placing this token is one of the rewards you might get for winning a battle. One last important detail. At some point, you go to a space and you discard a card for that has this ring on it. As soon as you discard the ring card, you look at your own player board, because then you also get to do the special action that is written next to the ring. The ring is also on your player board, and each character has a different ability that gets triggered as soon as you play this card to go to a space on the board. Just do whatever it says, your character will speak for itself. I'll explain some spaces later, but first there's one last action you can choose to do when it's your turn. If you have no more players left to place on the board, you lay out all the cards that you still had in your hand. And now you do look at whatever it says at the bottom of the cards. You only look at what it says at the bottom of the cards. For every sword icon you see, you can move your own token up by 1 space on this battle track. If there is an action or reward written on the bottom of the card, you can also deal with that now. And then the most important thing is that you look at the blue squares at the bottom of the cards. They all have a number in them. Count all the numbers up, and then that's how much credit you have to buy new cards from here. You can see there are 8 cards open on display. You can buy as many as you like using the credit that you have from those leftover cards you laid out. 3 of these open cards will always be there, and these 5 open cards will keep changing. As soon as you take one, you immediately replace it with a new card from this deck. Anyway, you can buy these cards and put them on your discard pile. That will make your own deck stronger for future turns. Also keep in mind, you don't only have to do this action when you have no more workers left. You are allowed to do this reveal action when you still have some workers left, but it will be the last turn you do this round, because if you use up all the cards from your hand, you won't be able to pay a card to place your worker when it's your turn again. But maybe that 1 extra card will allow you to buy some expensive card that you see on the market here. The higher the cost of a card, the better it will be. But that's what you can do when it's your turn. Either place one of your figures on a space to get the reward, or reveal all the leftover cards you have in your hand to purchase new cards from the market. And maybe the cards that you have revealed give you something extra as well. It will be written all the way at the bottom of the cards. And that's already it. This is how you play Dune Imperium. If you want to stick around, let me show you some of the spaces on the game board. Not every space is purely for taking some resources. I won't show you the one that you can easily tell that they give you resources as rewards. Those will be very clear. You have this space with the black player figure. If you use this, you can take this figure and use it as an extra worker for only this one round. Plus, you get to take an extra card from your deck. That's always good. If your deck ever runs out, just shuffle your discard pile. There's this space up here. When you go here, you can place your other round marker and place it here. From now on, for the rest of the game, you get 2 extra credits when you're buying new cards from the market. And this space says you can take your own player figure from here. From now on, you'll have 3 of your player figures to use each round instead of 2. This space top right says you can sell spice, the orange resources, for money. When you go here, you can immediately take one of these cards from the market and put it on your own discard pile. Use this space to take one of these smaller cards. You can use these in battle or at the end of the game. The card will tell you. And if it says plot, that means you can use them at any point during your turn. These little cards can be very handy. Don't show them to other players. Plus, there's more. If a player has at least 4 of these, they have to give you a random one. You steal one from another player. And the last space I'll show you is this one. This means remove one of your cards from the game, from anywhere except your draw deck, and then you can take 2 new cards from your deck. Don't forget that if you use one of these spaces on the left side, you get to move your own little cube up 1 space on the track in that section. It gives you points, plus maybe some extra advantages. 2 more random details and then we're done. I've told you that if you use one of your cards to place your figure on a space, it might say something in the middle. And you can use that. If a card shows something and then a white arrow, that means you have to pay that to get what the arrow is pointing to. And the last thing, sometimes a card might say Fremen Bond. That means you can do whatever the card says. If you have already played another card during your turn that says Fremen on it. We're done. You are ready to play Dune Imperium. The back of the rulebook also has a very clear description of icons and terms in case you can't figure out what something means. I hope you feel like you have a good idea of how it goes and that you'll have a nice time playing this. Thank you for watching. Feel free to leave a comment and see you for the next one.